So if you want a pretty little plant for your part shade area, say hello to the Polkadot plant. Today we're going to be talking about Polkadot plants. They make a wonderful addition to your porch, garden, or patio. We're going to take a look at its watering needs, feeding this plant, propagating, and pruning. And we'll also go ahead and plant some. If you have never been here before, my name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel. Welcome everyone. So the Polkadot plant is a not commonly known plant, but it is beautiful. It is called Hypoestes philostachya, and it actually originates from Madagascar. It's a tropical plant, so typically for most of our areas, we'll grow it as annuals, and it comes in white, red, and pink. And you see the little polka dots, the colors over on the leaves, which is why it's given that name. Pairs very well with other plants. Right here we have them with some fern and some tuberous begonia. It's a part shade lover, so it goes very well with these that we're seeing right here. And to give you more information about begonias of different types, I did this previous video. I will link it in the description box if you wanted to get more information about that wonderful plant. Over here you can see they also combined it with some fern as well too. And in this container they had it with some double impatiens and some euphorbia. And I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. You can let me know what you think in the comments about this one. And you too can have this, by putting them together. Now, it can be grown indoors as well. But what I will say is that if you grow it indoors, it will need a little bit more attention. So if you are not wanting to, if you want something that's really carefree, then your best option would be just to grow it outdoors in part shade. That would be my best suggestion for you. This right here is a bloodleaf plant. They look kind of similar, but they're in different families. They have kind of similar requirements, but they are different, so you could compare them side by side. And I just showed you this just in case you saw them, you'd know which one it is that we're talking about and which one you'd want to get. And they're pretty inexpensive at your garden center. So if you have part shade gardens are maybe like dappled sunlight or under a tree, these plants are perfect for that. The leaves, when they're newer, are more green, and then they, develop their colors. So we're going to go ahead and plant these out today. And what I usually try to do is to get the ones that have a little bit more branching on them. So that way it will look nice and fluffy very, very quickly. So this is the color that I chose. And to combine with it, I'm going to go for begonia. That's the wax begonia variety. And then I'm going to be adding in some slow release fertilizer. Most times I don't, unless the plant really, is a heavy feeder to start. But I'm reusing my potting soil right here, so I'll need to add in, like extra nutrients to it to help them out there. And I'm also going to add some mulch to it like I usually do for my outdoor plants. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go further into the video. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. So the first thing I did was to just sprinkle some of the slow release fertilizer in the soil. It was a little bit moist, so it made it a little bit easier. I always try not to make the soil dry or to have it too wet, but this is, nice and workable right here. And then I usually try to put the plant that's taller at the back or in the middle, like the thriller plant in this case. In this case, I'm not sure which would be the thriller because these are so colorful and so beautiful. So even though they do spread out, I would say I probably just have a pot of fillers in this situation right here. And it doesn't really matter, you can do them whichever way you like. So I went monochromatic, all pinks here, but of course you can mix and match them any way you want. You can put just all polka dot plants in there, a pink one, a white one, and a red one. Or you can put other different types of flowers in there. Just be sure that they like part shade like this plant does so that we can have lots of success and they'll all be happy together. So I'm just going in and filling in the soil right here. And I always try to cover the soil from the nursery pot so that this, it doesn't dry out very quickly because, it has that nice potting soil on top of it. Because, those are not meant to be a permanent soil for the plant. It's just like a temporary thing. And, they don't have enough to sustain them indefinitely. So I always try to cover them over like you see me doing right here. And if you've ever heard of this plant before, let me know if it's something you were just investigating, you wanted to try it, or if you have one and you just wanted to get some tips about it, I'd love to know in the comments. And just to show you, whenever I'm planting out these transplants, I like to see that the roots look white or cream in color, because if they're brown or they're really dark, like really black, that could be a sign of root rot. And we don't want to start off with plants that are, unhealthy and are going to give us a difficult time. So I always try to look out for those. And if the plant centers, they will take them back if they're not in good shape. You can always take them back, with your receipt, and or they just put it on the card that you swiped when you were buying it. So it's pretty easy if that should happen. So we're almost finished here, and I noticed that maybe a spiller plant would have been nice to spill over this side. So like the creeping Jenny you just saw, or this vining Vinca would be a good one, or even this variegated ivy would be another good option as well. And there are many others too. It would have fit in really nice to the side, but I still like the way it looks, and when it fluffs out, it's going to be really, really nice. I'm still happy with the choice that I made for these right here. And I always try to, plant my flowers, veggies, or whatever the day before it rains, so that way they get that nice rain from above. Nothing like it to these plants. I'm going to go ahead and give it a good soak. Now, this soil is already moist, so it's not draining as quickly, but of course, draining holes are a must for these plants so they can drain properly and not get root rot. And doing that, we should be pretty much good to go. As long as it's running out the bottom, we know we're good to go, and it's soaked right on through. And then I go in and I add some mulch into it. Typically, I put like about 1.5 inches of thickness of mulch. And this helps the plant, you don't have to water them as much, because, it kind of, when the water is below, and it protects it in that way, you don't have to water them as much. And this is for my new gardeners. My older gardeners would most likely know this already, but it certainly helps in that regard. And I always try to make sure that I water it after I put it on there. There's so many different types of mulch out there. You have red, you have brown, you have cypress, black, pine bark, which is one of my favorites. And I guess maybe cypress would be a second runner up. But, there are many different types you can choose from, to suit your style and, your color scheme and all of that, just depending on what you prefer. And they keep them, warm in the winter if they're perennials, whatever plants you're planting, and it also helps to reduce weeds, in your flower beds and even containers. Sometimes you'll see like weeds try to come in there. And I remember the first time I planted something and put mulch in there, I didn't wet the mulch. I said, "Oh, the soil is wet, so I don't need to wet the mulch." But the next day, the mulch had whipped all the moisture away, so the plant was flopping over. So I had to really run in and soak it out. So I always try to water the mulch as well too, so everything is wet and nice. Now, as far as feeding them goes, typically I allow the first week to go by so the plant can be established. Once that time has passed, I go in and I get 2 tablespoons of water-soluble fertilizer, like this one right here. So it's 2 tablespoons that I put in 2 gallons of water. Give it a nice shake and just go ahead and water them. And then after that, like every 3 weeks or so, and they do pretty well. As far as watering needs go, this plant does not like to be completely dried out. So I'd say maybe like the first half inch or so, if it gets dry, you'd want to go ahead and water them. They're not like, very plants that, like dry conditions like rosemary, lavender, and some other plants like that. These ones, you'll need to, keep an eye on them that way. And it just depends on how warm the weather is, and if, where you have them planted and all of that. But it's good to just check in on them every now and then. Once they're established, so they're usually, pretty good to go. And I just wanted to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to our channel if you have never done so before. My husband and I, we do lots of gardening topics. We do garden DIYs. We show you what's at the garden centers. And we also go over mistakes that we and other gardeners have learned from, so that you can have an easier garden experience. And if you haven't heard from us in a while, stop by and check, because we do weekly uploads for you. And tapping the bell twice definitely helps. So this is what it looked like over here once it was placed. This is like 2 days after I put them on, on the area I wanted them. And I think they look even better than they did before. They're hanging out right next to my chrysanthemum. And I'll put my summer and spring makeover playlist at the end for you. So if you wanted to take a look at, more details of some of the makeovers that we've done on our porch, including this video that we did this, you'll get to see it there. Now, as far as pruning this plant goes, you really will need to pinch this plant back, because it can get leggy sometimes. So if you prune it back a little bit, early in the process, then it will be nice and fluffier for you. We were traveling, so I didn't get to prune it as quickly as I wanted to, but it still looks okay, but it could have been a lot fluffier. But just to show you, this is how leggy it can get, which I allowed this to happen in the fall because I wanted to see the purple flowers. I said, leaves are pretty, but let's see what the flowers look like. And that's what they look like right there. But it'll be leggy like that if you just let it grow and grow and grow. Now we're going to talk about propagation. It's very easy to propagate. You just go in with a nice sharp pair of pruners and just snip it back. And I usually maybe about 4 inches or so, length of the plant. And I try to get one that's straight, so it's, makes it easier in terms of putting it in a narrow vase or something like that. And then I'll go in and I'll just take off the, leaves at the bottom so it's not sitting in the water, and just change it maybe like once per week. And in about 2 to 3 weeks, you should see some little roots on there. And then you can just stick those maybe in the same container if you want to thicken it up, or you can put them in, other containers or even flower beds, and they should be fine from there. Now let's talk about growing them indoors. Now, as far as watering needs go, because they're indoors, they will not need to be watered as frequently, but they still have to be checked on. And this plant actually loves moisture. It likes humidity. So you'll want to get a humidifier if you have dry conditions inside your house. If you do, then I'd say avoid like terracotta pots unless they're sealed, because terracotta pots, they tend to pull water away from the soil a lot more than the other types of containers. So if that's the case in your home, you don't have a humidifier, then maybe like ceramic type containers might be better with holes in the bottom like these. These are so pretty. I think it would be just so perfect in a container like that. If it's indoors, you can use the plastic containers, you can use metal containers. It just depends on what your preference is. And as far as feeding them goes, you want to use an indoor plant food source. And these, I'll maybe link one of these. The main thing to bear in mind is that the ratio of nitrogen to phosphorus to potassium should be 1 to 1 to 1. So you may see 5, 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, or 20, 20, 20. So, you can enjoy them indoors and outdoors. It doesn't matter. It just needs a little bit more attention if you're going to be doing it indoors. But either way, they make wonderful plants. And I'm glad I chose them, and I think they'll become more popular, as time goes by. So that's our little secret right there, just sharing this plant with you that you may not see everywhere, but eventually I think they'll come along. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much to my channel members. We appreciate you all so much. And all of those of you that share our videos out with fellow gardeners. And if this is your first time visiting this channel, I do hope you'll subscribe and journey along with us. Gardening is just such a wonderful hobby. We share ideas, we learn from each other, from your comments and your questions. And I do look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Happy gardening and take care.